Prakhar, uh, yeah, we can see you, Prakhar and Arnav. You're live on YouTube now. It's streaming. Arnav, you're muted.
Prakhar, after 10 seconds, once we start the PPT, we have to let that get into the video. And Vibhas sir, can I record now as co-host also?
Yeah, I think so. Vipin, you can do it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you can do it.
Okay, okay.
You want me to start? I can start.
Vipin sir, I will record on the system, my system.
Uh, I think, Prakhar, you can start.
Yeah. So can we start?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Can we start, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's session. Today, Mark, right? I'll just introduce Dr. Arnav Kumar in a brief. Dr. Arnav Kumar is currently an assistant professor in the Department of Commerce and Management Studies at Ramanujan College, University of Delhi. He has done his post-graduation in distinction in doctorate from the Department of Commerce in School of Economics, University of Delhi. Experience of 7 years of teaching postgraduate, undergraduate courses in management and commerce. He specializes in research methodology, statistical methods, software packages for research, and has teaching interest in finance and investment. He is a vivid researcher. He has published more than 16 research papers in national and international journals of EDC listed journals and has presented research papers in about a dozen national and international conferences, seminars. He has received 9 Best Paper Awards, projects, presentation awards at different national and international conferences. He has provided consultancy in major UGC, ICCSR, and Delhi University innovation projects. He has undertaken around 30 sessions as a resource person, invited speaker, including in MHRD sponsored national level FDPs, workshops, 1 month induction program, and in institutes like SRCC, Hansraj, and other B schools. Right, so I'll be handing over now to Dr. Arnav Kumar so that we can start with this session.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Prakhar. I am grateful for the kind introduction and welcome to all the participants as well as to my colleagues from and organizing members from the Department of Management Studies, Ramanujan College. So before we begin, I would like to, take up a few things. So how many of you have been able to install R? How many of the participants have been able to install R? So you can raise hand or quickly confirm to me in the chat. I earlier sent the link. Many have successfully done. Okay. So I'm seeing in the both in the chats as well as participants raising hand. Okay. So good number. A few are doing it now. So please complete it. And yes, those who are trying, yes, please do it. It will not take much time. It is very simple. You have to just go ahead. There is nothing complicated or technical about it. Okay. Okay, so I think a lot of people have done it, but some are facing different types of problems. So I will take that up. Yeah, it is fine if it is R 4.0.2, whatever version you are getting, it is fine. Okay, so I have got a sense. So most of you now have R. So let me proceed ahead with the session. So today we are starting with management research using R software, and you already know the details. It has also been shared on the Telegram group. So at 4 p.m. today and at 5 p.m. tomorrow and day after, we will be having the session. So before we begin, meanwhile, those who are trying to install can continue with it, because we want to give you a live hands-on experience. So it would be better if you can complete the installation process simultaneously. So before we begin with R and different things, let me share some initial thoughts and initial ideas regarding a few things. So dear participants, you all have already been, many of you, I have seen the profile, I described it in the inauguration session also. So many of you are already well into research in your respective domains. Some of you have done PhDs, some of you may be even supervising PhDs and MPhils and other research projects, and definitely as an individual faculty member also beyond these courses you would be doing research. Now, one point I really want to put forward here is that we are living in a world where only and only, and these ideas are not limited, at least the initial few ideas are not limited only to management discipline. So it is also for all participants of all disciplines. So in all of the research, what is acceptable today is evidence-based research. So it is no more a time. You would have seen several studies of, 3, 4 decades back. There were just ideas. They also, went on to become seminal papers, but there was very limited data, very limited analysis, and more of theory, more of, logic and reasons in the paper. And those papers got published. Now, in today's time, you have to provide evidence. I will give 3 quick examples. So we all know that climate change is a big risk today for, and climate change and global warming for humanity. Now, do you know how it all began? It was there, evidence was there informally and visually everywhere, many places. But nobody was willing to accept it. Nobody was willing to admit it. Nobody was willing to act on it. So what led all heads of state in the world, all leaders of countries, to unanimously agree for a global climate deal in Paris? I think it was December 2016 or 2017 or 2018. I don't remember the exact year. Paris climate deal. What led to that? It was continuous evidence based research that yes, weather patterns are becoming erratic, agricultural productivity is getting reduced, leading to food insecurity. Maybe further problems like civil war and poverty also are on the anvil. There is evidence of reducing glaciers. There is evidence of rising sea levels, which can easily be correlated with rising temperatures and rising carbon and other pollutants emissions. So all of this led provided all of this data-based facts, and using the methods which we will be using in this, all of this forced global heads. You can imagine it will take for a head of a state to agree to something. But all heads of state agreed to this data-based, evidence-based research. Similarly, we all know Raghuram Rajan, but we know him recently as former RBI governor. But before that, we also know why he was so famous. So he was famous that because before the onset of global financial crisis, he was able to predict it in one of his research papers that this is a bubble and it will burst soon and there is going to be a downfall on the other side. But how was he able to do that? Again, quantitative research, data-based research, evaluations, and several other things. I'm not going into that detail. Again, in marketing also, there in the early 2000s, when many of you would be much younger. I was also very young in my education during doing my education. In that time, telecom companies started doing some analysis. So they observed a pattern among young users who were talking in groups or talking more to a specific numbers, maybe their loved ones, and they were using more data and they were using those data and messages and calls in night. So there they leveraged this information and came out with numerous night packs, uh, same telecom service provider calls are free and so on. You are all aware of the journey, and that live opened up such a opportunity for them that they were all telecom companies benefited significantly in the early part of 2000, 2005, 2010 onwards, also 2010 onwards more prominently, not in the early part of 2000. So all everywhere in HR, Infosys at one point was having very high attrition rate of 33%, though attrition rate is generally high in IT industry. But before Vishal Sikka, many of you might have heard about him, joined as the head CEO, the employee turnover rate was quite high, above industry benchmarks, that too for a reputed firm like Infosys. And this was a problem. Now, what is the solution? Again, solution is data, data-based research, data analysis. So instead of speculating, and they were calling on board meetings and they were considering giving pay hikes and designation hikes. But what came out when they conducted a survey and analyzed the collected data and from their employees and analyzed the results, what came out actually was that it was not about pay hike. It was not about promotions. It was not about being stuck at the same position in their careers. It was about work environment. Why were they made to, why they were, it was beyond the comprehension of young, bright IT company employees that why they were asked to wear ties like school children. Why there was so much closed door policies. In few subjective comments, they said that in Facebook, a young joinee can sit beside Mark Zuckerberg. But look at the organizational structure and closed door system that you have created within the organization, and so on. Rest is history. Again, it was many of those changes were implemented, and attrition rate was significantly reduced. So whether it is finance, whether it is marketing, whether it is HR, whether it is economics, whatever discipline you belong to, whatever area you belong to, political sciences. There are some people from social sciences here also. And we also in marketing and other things, other behavioral sciences, behavioral aspects of management, we also do researches on aspects of leadership and popularity. So all of you must have heard that political parties are so much using data analytics. They go through the pattern of posts. So which words are coming up more? What is the mood of the nation? And web analytics we have, and it is becoming more and more important in today's time because a majority of India is also coming online. So, and you do not perhaps, perhaps any rally or any other coverage you have, the most wide coverage you can get as a political person is by a tweet, because you have millions of people on Twitter now, millions of Indians also. So, what is the theme that is resonating among the voters? What they want? What are the issues that are captivating their attention? What are the challenges that they want to be taken up and addressed? What they want to be incorporated in the agenda of political leaders? And that, you see that reflection. So, this evidence based and analytics is, becoming all pervasive, whether you go into any kind of social science, any kind of political system, business, commerce, it is becoming all pervasive. And also in academics, we cannot do good research without some data and analysis. Now, in this point, it would seem that, it is all about quantitative research. And yesterday only you attended a session on qualitative research. And I was also hearing, and it was a very good session. When I say evidence-based research, it includes qualitative research also. Because in qualitative research also, you are collecting some information. I am not going into the details. Sir has already explained in great depth. The means is different. Maybe it is not numbers, which can be used or analyzed by statistical tools. But there is some information that you are taking. And for several purposes, qualitative research can be more appropriate. So it is fine, it is perfectly fine. But you need to have evidence-based research. And as Sir also pointed in yesterday's session, qualitative and quantitative research stop treating them as substitutes. Yesterday there was a question in the chat I was also seeing, perhaps it was not taken up. I would like to address that now. Qualitative and quantitative research are not substitutes. They are complementary to each other. They can substantiate. In fact, what overall sense you can get from quantitative analysis, the details of it, the intricacies of it, the underlying aspects, you can easily decipher through qualitative research. So they should be taken into complement. And our this FTP is about management education and management research, and the sessions are for use of R for management research. But let me tell you a very, very important thing, because about 90% of our participants, our stakeholders in this FTP who are listening and watching now are faculty members from management commerce disciplines. So please keep your eyes open beyond finance, marketing, HR, operations, international business, strategy. There is emerging a new specialization, a much sought after one: data sciences and business analytics. If you are still not aware of this, I will tell you, whether it is IIM Ahmedabad, whether it is IIM Kolkata, whether it is Indian School of Business Hyderabad, whether it is XLRI, and I also know a couple of business schools in Delhi, which I got to see their websites for some program. All of them. So right from the top to the mid-level and lower mid-level, all hierarchies, all levels of business schools and management and commerce departments, not maybe will vary depending upon institute to institute, but most places they have already either started specializations, papers on business analytics and data sciences, or they are incorporating. And if you just after the session, if you just Google search, then apart from at one point MBA finance was trending, today MBA data science and MBA business analytics is what is trending. So as teachers and educators in management discipline, wherever you are, whether in an autonomous college, constituent college, independent business school, management or commerce department of universities, you will have to at some point take it up, because that's the demand that is coming in. So please also take whatever we are going to cover in the 3 days as an important value addition to your teaching, not only to your research. That is my point. And I have already discussed widespread uses. Now, many of you would be wondering that why there has been a phenomenal rise in recent times of data science. For someone who has not been looking at it in depth would see that why so much R, Python, data science, business analytics. And to some people who have not been looking at the past trend, it would really seem that they have emerged out of blue. They were never there. They were something which computer science and statistics people read or taught. Why in management? Why in business? Why in commerce? But those who would have been watching closely, it was there for last 10 years at least. You can find several courses, at least abroad, where data sciences and business analytics specializations, whether it is Harvard, MIT, or Columbia, everywhere there was data science and business analytics specializations. Yes, it has become widespread because at the local level, whether it is a retail outlet, as I told, or whether it is a marketing by Indian telecom companies, or whether it is HR practices by an IT company, now it is getting incorporated and ingrained in the working at the local in the local environment, local Indian environment also. Most companies are now using and leveraging data for the first time as an asset. Till now, we know human resources are an asset, capital is an asset, in know-how and IPR and all of that is an asset. But now data is an asset, data that is available. And as per the demand from the industry, there is a ripple effect on business schools, and then it goes down the chain. And then it becomes widespread, and there are news that there will be so many lakhs and millions of jobs in data science and business analytics, so accordingly. And again, I have discussed the importance in academic and course curriculum and discipline specific. Now you will also need to appreciate one more aspect. Earlier, if you see where this was, data science or business analytics or R or such things, where they were. So in fact, if I go 5 years early, then R was exclusively maybe in a computer science course. So in a computer science course, you were learning R because R is a programming language. Many of us have must have completed our undergraduation and post graduation in commerce and management, never ever coming across any statistical analysis software in our lifetime. Maybe in PhD or somewhere you were coming across. Then about 5-7 years ago, maybe some institutions earlier also, now statistics people also started learning R. Again, R is a computer science thing, programming based, but they also started learning, because how do you implement that? How do you implement your statistical methods? So it started coming into the curriculum of other courses, related courses like statistics, mathematics from computer science. And now it is in the curriculum of business schools, undergraduate and postgraduate programs in management and commerce also. Now, this is I think now the background is set. I think that is very clear. Now, let me focus on what we are going to do. So as our teacher in charge and program director Lata ma'am also told yesterday towards the end of the session, that we are expecting that you cover up the basics. So we do not also have time, and we cannot cover the basics of statistics and basic techniques, because correlation, regression, and even t-tests and ANOVA and descriptive statistics, all of this we have been knowing, teaching, learning at a very good in a very good at various places in a very good capacity. So we cannot and we will not be focusing on that. Focus will be twin. One will be exposing you and giving you the ability to understand, interact, and manipulate the R environment. And secondly, the focus would shift. So today and early tomorrow, we will focus more on our environment, because the learning curve in R, that has been, I will come to that later also. The learning curve in R and Python, these kind of things, is slightly steep. That becomes a deterrent for many people. But so we will be devoting good time, that is today and early tomorrow, on understanding the R environment, R interface. And then from tomorrow, we will start to, once our ground is covered, we will directly apply statistical methods and techniques to various business and management cases and situations. And I will be forwarding the data sets to organizers and organizing team, and they will be forwarding to you. So we will be taking up data sets from across marketing, finance, HR disciplines, operations, because operations is also very good, not maybe in undergraduate level, but in postgraduate education, operations is very important part, operations and supply chain. So we will have data from 3-4 disciplines of management, 3-4 major disciplines and categories of management, and we will be, applying them and learning and interpreting. But basics of that, you should catch up on your own. And what should be your approach in, these during these 3 days? So one, as I told earlier also, we would highly appreciate that you, so we collected initial feedback, and I found that many have already installed R and are very well ready and set to go. So the first and the most preferred way would be that you do everything live, hands-on with us. But due to any such reason, and I myself also am kind of a person who will first likes to observe and then practice in my own space. So if it is that, then also it is fine, but be present during the session, and wherever you feel that it is not getting, you can put it in the chat. And we are also planning a assessment, a joint assessment for all the 3 days. So because nature of topic is such that you will learn only when you apply. So to make sure that you apply and understand and are able to implement it in our environment and interpret it. So assessment we are contemplating, we will finalize and communicate to you shortly. We are maybe tomorrow or day after we will communicate, but we are most likely going ahead with a project, research project. So that will be mandatory to submit, and since it will be for 3 days, it will have weightage of 3 days also in terms of marks for your grade. So please be very aware that you will find it very difficult to do unless you are comfortable with and understand what we are doing. So assessment will also be directly linked with what we are learning and understanding over these 3 days. And finally, as a outcome after these 3 days, I do not expect you to master each and everything in R. So many of you must be using some other software, so like SPSS, or economics or finance people may be using eViews. Some people like to use Excel, as far as Excel can go, as far as Excel can provide support in their research endeavors. So but please imagine that whatever software you would have been using till now, if you honestly contemplate, and if you give any other answer, then definitely you are not aware of the depth. So we have MS Excel also. Nobody can claim, at least if they are not into it thoroughly for several years, that they have mastered all the functionalities, features, and add-ons of Excel. So it is one thing that I have learned over these years, and I would really like to share with you, is that do not try to learn a software beyond the requirement. Do not go after chasing R. Once we cover up the basics and you are good to go, Maybe you can have time later on, but do not go in that direction. First, understand. Don't put software first. Softwares are garbage in, garbage out. First, understand what you want to do. First, understand how it will be useful, whether in solving a research problem or a business or managerial problem. Then find a suitable application technique and then look for how to apply it in R. And if SPSS or other softwares are any idea, any benchmark, then if other softwares are like ponds, I would tell you R is an ocean. R is an ocean, and why it is so, I will just tell you in a couple of minutes. And nobody can, understand, nobody can, go into the entire depth and try to capture everything. It is simply not possible. Maybe it is not even possible if you devote your entire 50, 60 years of lifetime. So please don't excessively go on that crazy side. Understand the basics, understand the important things which we are going to do, and then proceed as per your requirement. And gradually increase your learning capacity. If you try to absorb everything in one go, that will again also become a problem, and then again you will forget. And as is advised with all softwares, please keep using it time and again. Though I will try to approach this in such a way that you, even if you come back on this after some time, it will be much more convenient, but still try to use it as frequently as possible to maintain continuity in learning. So with all this, I hope it is clear, and I expect you to be able to, develop a foundation for doing your own research, applying methods in R. And also, if any of you in your respective institutions can do a basic course on statistics or data analytics or data sciences with R, you should be able to proceed with it. That is the outcome that we are intending out of this. So directly affecting your personal and personal research and professional teaching. So finally, now what is R? So there would be, so let me, before going to this, let me take a quick poll as to how many of you have. So let me ask the reverse question. So how many of you have already at some point used R? So I'm not asking how many of you have not used R. I'm asking how many of you have used R. So again, you can give a quick raise of hand or write in the chat. Okay. So this will give me an idea as to, okay. So I think only 6 to 7 participants out of 159 have, I think, raised hand. And in the chat also, it is mostly not used. So I'm getting a sense. Okay, so for most of you, it is entirely new. Okay, fine. So no problem. I was also expecting this kind of audience. So let me start from the scratch. And those few of you who have some sort of background can, easily revise and recapitulate, especially to the, So yes, Shailendra sir, I will be addressing. It is very difficult to learn. Shailendra sir, I will ask you that again. At the end of today's session, whether it is so difficult to learn or not. Okay, so there are several things, uh, several notions, and though I would agree that the learning curve is indeed steep in R compared to other softwares, and that is why there has been slow adoption of R compared to other softwares. So in today's session, first of all, I would be first giving you a glimpse of R. I would be going into the basics of R in our environment, our interface. And in today's session, I would like to deliver more, and there would be less queries. So for today, I would request you to, since we are having 3-day time, so we can plan accordingly to cover everything. So today, I would request you to limit your questions only to what has been covered today. because this is a 3-day plan. So many things will get covered tomorrow and day after. So limit your questions and views to what has been covered today. And then from tomorrow and day after tomorrow, I will increase the proportion, increase the scope of questions and answers, because it is the first time for most of you. So first understand what is going on, and then you can obviously raise queries. And also after today, you will be able to do some hands-on practice live and after at home also. So then you will further come up with more queries. So keep the queries limited to what we are going to cover today. So what is R? So R is basically a programming based language. You know, it was it is developed, it was created by, because it came into existence for the first time in around 1992. So it was created by Ross Ihaka and Robert Gentleman of University of Auckland, New Zealand. And you why you would be wondering, where does this R word come from? So there are many conspiracy theories and suggestions that this R refers to correlation or something. No, it does not refer to correlation or anything. There was a time when all statistical and computer programs were named with single letters. So many of you would be aware, C, S, and so on. So R was chosen because both the persons who were both the creators of this software, the first letter of their names was R. So that's how R got its name. It was initially not for correlation or something. And it is currently developed by our development core team, because obviously the magnitude has increased so much, and it is supported by our Foundation for Statistical Computing. And I may skip this part, but just for information, as I told you, it was computer science, developed from computer science as a programming language. So it has inherited most of its structure, underlying structure, from what is called an S language. And the source code is the primary foundation, because it is a programming language, has been written in C, Fortran, and after the bits were developed, also some further parts were written in R. So we are having a stable version since 2000. So I told you, R is not something which has just come out of blue. We are the ones who have been either not aware, or we have not been exposed to it. But R has been there since 2000, so around 20 years, 2 decades now. Now, why use R amongst several other software? So I don't honestly need to tell you much why to use R. Some of you may be having, some of you would say it is just popular, it is being used, it is required by the market, we are required to teach it, and so on. But I would like to provide you some more rational, you know, points and strong points as to why we should use R. First of all, imagine any other popular software that you use for research and data analysis. So whether it is SPSS, whether it is eViews, whether it is SAS, whether it is Stata, whether it is MATLAB, and just, even Excel is not free. It comes with a Microsoft license. R, for a change, and perhaps the major exception, is open source and freely available. So that is a big, big point. You don't have to worry about any legalities. There is a general user license, general open public license. Otherwise, you do not have to worry about any legality while downloading it, sharing it, and recommending others. Second point I have put here, but it is debated. So let me, we will maybe today or tomorrow we will take a feedback from you whether it is easy to learn or not. But definitely, where it is well developed and it is not a complex programming language. There may be a barrier from your mind to going into a programming mind that can create a barrier, but from programmers viewpoint, R is very basic. Why we have a faculty, Mr. Vipin with us, and he was also saying, oh, R phrase from computer science, and he was saying R is very basic. So, for computer science people, R is indeed one of the, so believe me when I say this, R is one of the simplest programming languages from computer science people, but definitely for us, it is not so. Now, GUI, I think also some of you may not be familiar. So GUI, but I think any of you who have used softwares for data analysis have used GUI. In fact, GUI is nothing but graphical user interface. So, if I tell you in a layman's language, you remember menu, go to menu and select this button and this button, and a dialog box opens, and run things. So, though I am warning that R is essentially a programming language, but there is a lot of good GUI which we may cover today or in early part of tomorrow. Effective data handling and storage, and the next one is very, very important. In fact, what drove me to R as a researcher, I have my mentor Lata ma'am here, and CS Sharma sir also guided me in some of advanced techniques during my PhD. So how I got introduced to R was because of unavailability of some advanced techniques which I wanted to apply to add value to my work, but was not available in other standard packages. So as a researcher applying different techniques, in fact, R also has packages for qualitative data analysis. Sir was yesterday telling about NVivo and other softwares for analyzing qualitative data. But R also has packages for reading and analyzing qualitative data. Then it is one thing which is R is very famous for awesome charts, and any statistical tool that you can think of. I literally challenge you, any statistical tool or technique or test you can conceive or think of, there is a very, very high probability that you will find it in R. If not in the underlying program, in one of the thousands. It has already crossed 10,000, the number of packages. It is much more than that. That was data of 2-3 years back when I started using R for my PhD research. I was aware of it a little earlier also, but major way I used it then. So, thousands of packages. So virtually every statistical tool, basic to advanced, we will start from tomorrow with descriptive and basic mean and standard deviation to advanced techniques. Everything is there on R. Universally used. And the last point, friends, colleagues, teachers, researchers, is very, very important. R has a large supportive community for any help. I have put the link also. So anything, because if you really use R, then you might find a problem, might find challenges, because R, not only is the learning curve steep, but also the challenge in R is that even if you miss a dot, even if you miss a comma, and unlike many computer science people hate R because of it, because many other computer science programs and even statistical softwares like eViews are not case sensitive, but R is case sensitive. So even if you use a capital and small letter at different place, then you will run in an error and you will not be able to get through. So you will need help at least in the initial phases with R. So there is an RStudio and RStudio. I will come to what is RStudio. So there is R community, which is very, very active. And since R is globally used, so we all know the global time cycle. So virtually 24 hours, there would be some person who would be online in any part of the world who can directly address your query. And they have already made it lot structured, and there are already search tags and already classification. So any kind of help you want is available. Even after these programs and sessions are over, it is there for R. So how to obtain R? I think let me take you to this, since this is a live session. So let me actually take you to these web links also. So, you are rest assured that even after this session, you will be able to do it. So just a second, I am sharing the screen of web browser. So if we go to community.rstudio.com, and the other web link, for those who have not been, I think there are a couple of people, I think 4 or 5 people who struggled with installation. So let me guide them also quickly. This community is already, this is the the primary thing for better access. You can sign up or log in. It is all free for all categories, all tags. You can look for RStudio and special packages, markdown, discussions about teaching. Package development is more for computer science and statisticians, machine learning and modeling, uncategorized queries, and so much is there. And these are broad categories. Then there are tags, and you can simply search. So for example, if I search how to run partial correlation in R, so we all know bivariate correlation, but how to run partial correlation in R? So just I'm telling you, wherever you get stuck, because in limited time we will not be able to cover everything. So all you need to do immediately, you will find that it is available. First of all, the solution is already available. And all you need to do is run these things and you will be good to go. Numeric variables would be the variables in your data set and you would be good to go. So it is as easy as this once you understand the fundamentals. That is why we are going to devote almost half of the 3 days on understanding the basics. Then it is very easy. You can easily find any test, any technique, any help. And this is the comprehensive R archive network. So it is, in shortcut we call it CRAN. So this CRAN hosts R, and it also has detail of several other things. So again, uh, here I think this is what I referred to you. So Linux, Mac OS, Windows, I think 1 or 2 people, let me check from the question answer. Yes, so 1 or 2 people who, one people who had a query was telling I have Android and iOS, iPad, so I'm unable to install. Sir, ma'am, don't mess with R through your smartphones. If you want to do some good quality research, good analysis, leave your smartphones, start coming on actual laptops, desktops, and anyone who would have installed it on a laptop or a desktop or a workplace system will not face any problem. Don't try to put everything in your mobile. It is not for a mobile, it is serious stuff, it is complicated stuff. Put it on your system and you will be good to go. You will not face problem whether it is Windows, whether it is Mac, Apple, whether it is Linux, a popular open-based choice. And secondly, there was a query whether R, which version of R to use. Any version, whatever we are going to cover is there in all versions. I am also using a slightly old version, which I installed and updated 2 years back, but now R 4.0.2 is there. So don't worry, whatever version you have, go ahead with it. Doesn't matter, no problem. And okay, so all you need to do is to just click here, download R for Windows, and you will be good to go. So since almost everybody has done it, so, and I think I have clarified 1 or 2 queries that were there. I am not going further ahead with it. So let me come back quickly to my presentation. So now there was one more query regarding 32-bit versus 64-bit. So again, 32-bit versus 64-bit problem is there. It relates to your operating system. So most, laptops and PCs almost universally, even I think if you have purchased anything in less than 4 or 5 years, then all your systems would be 64-bit. 64-bit has more power, it can store more information, but 32-bit also does not affect you and me materially. So you have to check the system that you are having. If it is 32-bit, slightly older systems, very few, almost no new model has 32-bit operating system. So then go for 32-bit. Otherwise, if it is 64-bit, then go for, then as it would be, then you have to install it. And there was question that how do I download 32-bit? Then it is already downloaded. It is, you can already get it through the same link, same click, it automatically reads. Because binaries, I'm not going into technicals, but binaries are the fundamentals of installation for packages like R. So binaries are automatically downloaded for both 32 and 64-bit systems. So whatever is your system, it will automatically install. Now, we recently just while going on the CRAN website, we saw version 4.0.2. So let me tell you what this means. So if we take a look here, so the latest version that R is having is 4.0.2. You can probably see my cursor here. So what does this mean? 4.0.2 means that the major version is 4. Then in this version, because it has been released in this year also, this year only, 2020. So there is no, first 4 is the version number. So till now, there are only 4 versions of R, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Not like iPhones are getting released every year or other phones and systems. There are only 4 versions in as many years that we have with R till now. Now, the second or the middle one is for major changes in the version that is there. So major changes in the 4th version, the middle one is for that. And 2 is for minor changes. So now R has released its 4th version, and there 0 meaning there has not been any major change in the 4th version, while there has been 2 minor updates. So that is what it means. But if any one of you has an older version like 3 point something, I am also having 3 point something, I will probably update after some time. So no problem, because most R functionality is backward compatible with previous versions. So it is not an issue. Now, our environment is very much interactive. Why I say that is because let me take you to our environment and let me show you why it is interactive. So I think many of you who would have installed R would be getting this. Though we would be working on RStudio, and I will tell you why. But this is what R is. So my system is 64-bit, so it has installed the 64-bit version, 64-bit type, and you can see the version is 3.5.0, released on 23rd April 2018. And again, I have already told about R Foundation for Statistical Computing. So now, uh, why is it interactive? Because in many other programming languages, I don't know how many of you, since many of you do not have background of R, so I suspect many of you are also not aware of other programming languages. So what happens is that most programming languages have a tedious process. So you have to enter a long set of codes and commands, and then you get a response from the system or software. But R is not like that. In R, you will get response immediately. So let us do this. 1 plus 1, and I press enter. You can see the response 2. We get the answer. So in R, you can get response in one line. Now, if I do it like that, 2 into 5, because 1 plus 1, you got 2, so you would feel that R is very easy. Why do we need to learn? So let us do 2 into 5, and you will run into error. This is the problem. That is why you can do 1 plus 1, because you were unaware, but it was fine with R. But the moment you do anything else and it is not as per our rules, you will run into an error. That is why you need training and help in understanding the basic working of R, which we are going to deliver, which we have already in a way started now. So that is why it is required. So the correct thing to do here is this, and you will get the right answer. So this is the basic R environment. But I will not be spending time on this because we are not going to use this. We are going to use what is known as RStudio. So what is RStudio and why we are going to use that? So again, let me share this. So basically, as you saw here, as you saw in this, because again many softwares also have this kind of simple interface, but they are capable of doing many things. But compared to its possibilities, R offers a very basic interface in this form. So what we do is that instead of R, we go for what is called as IDE, Integrated Development Environment. Integrated Development Environment. So let me take you to the PPT. So this environment is very basic. So what we do is that we use IDEs, Integrated Development Environments. Integrated because they are integrated with R. Development, so not only for analysis, but also for developing and adding to program and so on. And environment, you already understand the interface of the package and so on. Now there are several IDEs for software, but the most popular and the best one is RStudio. RStudio was created by a team led by JJ Allaire, and it works with all versions of R. But I have put here 2.11.1. But if you are downloading, for example, if you are downloading RStudio today or yesterday, then this requirement may be higher. So, they might be asking you for a version greater than 3, not only 2, but something greater than 3. So that you need to check. But anyways, since you will be downloading a compatible R also, which is already in 4th version, so it will not be a problem. Now, what are the features of RStudio? Again, it is open source and freely available of requirement because many IDEs are also paid, but RStudio is free, easy to learn, powerful, and there are many options, as you will see, as I will show you. There are many options for almost everything that you do. There are alternatives. So whichever way. And there's a lot of options which are, for people coming from other softwares. So you are familiar with, going to the menu and selecting something from there. So there are many options. Many options also means that menu based, that is graphical user interface, is possible for many things. It is also highly customizable, and that is why also we use RStudio. Now the RStudio interface, so best would be to show it. So I will take you to RStudio interface, but before that I will also explain very quickly the link for downloading RStudio. So let me just copy the link. Many of you have, I believe, and I have checked also in the beginning of the session, many of you have already also downloaded RStudio. So let me just put it here and let me share the screen in my web browser. So, I have, RStudio is a broader thing. You can see rstudio.com, then you have to go to products, then RStudio, then download. I've given you the direct download link. Now, again, there are several versions. So, you would find this that there are primarily two things. There is desktop version and there is server version. So what is server version? Server version means that it can directly run from a web browser. So, we are conducting this kind of, webinars and meetings. So, we have Zoom and we have, Google Meet. Google Meet for computers and PCs runs from a server, web browser. So web server is something which is on the internet. But for better experience and personalized experience, it is better that you download it. So RStudio Desktop is again open source and is free. You can easily download it and you can get it. So it is just one click away, and again it is available for all versions. It is available for you can see it is available for Windows. It can available for Mac, even Ubuntu. It is also available for Linux and Windows. It is covering 10, 8, 7, 64-bit. So it is there. Okay. So now if I take you to the RStudio interface. So this is the RStudio interface. So I think let me hide the video screen so it does not pop up. So you can see that RStudio interface, if I make it more appropriately divided, so you can see it is in form of a quadrant. You can see four parts. So this is upper left, this is lower left, this is upper right, and this is lower right. So I think many of you would be watching this. So most of the things are self-explanatory here. So this is the text editor, and this you would quickly recognize is almost similar to the R interface that we just saw. You would remember. In fact, it has been patched with the same version. So you can recognize 3.5.0 23rd April version dated. So it is patched up with that version. I will tell you how to change version, because many times it can happen that, for example, I am having 3.5 version, but if I today download 4.0.2 version, so I will have to change the version here so that my RStudio now is connected with the 4.0.2 version instead of the earlier 3.5 version. So I will tell you how to change the version with R version with which your RStudio is connected, because I told you it is an integrated developing environment. So RStudio does not act independently of R. It is connected to R in a way. So this is the R interface that you just saw. This is text editor. I will tell you what is the purpose of this text editor. It is very, very useful. So text editor, and this is environment. So what are here in the first icon, you will get list of variables, history of what all you have done, and connections to external sources. And then the last lower right part is for different things. So by default there is an option of help. So here also you have direct linkage. So while you are typing and working on R, and you run into a code which is not working, immediately you can click here. With one click you can go to RStudio community forum, and you can do it. Cheat sheets are programs that have already been developed. You just need to type in and change a few things as per your data, and you can run it. So this is help, these are packages. I will tell you what packages, how to go about it. Plots are the graphical outcomes that you will generate, files, and viewer. So this is, 4-quadrant view of R. And maybe tomorrow, early tomorrow, I will also take you to package installation, and I will also take you to global options. Here there are several things that you should understand, but today we don't need these things, so I will go one by one, not to complicate things, but this is the broad structure of our studio. So just one or two more things about RStudio, and then we directly, this we will directly do. I think we are done with the basics. So we can directly, run and insert commands from text editor, and we will have a complete list of shortcuts is available. I will take you to that. So, okay, I think enough background done. Let's directly go to RStudio. And let me open a new
Now, there are
script.
some questions on Q&A also.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. Thank you for telling. Okay. Um, again, some people are confused. I think Anshika, ma'am, I'm not sure. You can check on the. So there is a question that I own an iPad, do not have a laptop. Okay, so this is a problem. What I can suggest is that you can go to RStudio, and the link I have sent for RStudio, it is definitely advisable that you have some kind of a laptop or a desktop, because simply the computing power is more. But if you have an iPad, then no, you can go to RStudio download link which I showed and browse below and look for a version that is compatible with iPad, though I doubt it will work. But maybe in recent times they have put one which also works with the because the computing power of iPad also is increasing over the years. So maybe there is a version that is compatible. So check there. Difference between 3.7 and 3.20 version, don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it. Whatever 90%, 99%, whatever you're going to use is there. Though 3.20 version is a little more old, so some new features and some things are there in the recent versions. But you don't need to worry, as long as you don't need to worry much about the underlying version of R if you are using RStudio. Because if you are working in R, then you have to think what version is there, and it is getting old and there are new, not so many things, though it will not, you will most likely not face any problem. But if you are using RStudio, don't worry about it. Whenever you get time, I showed you, you can easily download even the latest version 4.0.2 and update it. Yes, Diana ma'am, please go along with me. And okay, just show how to open the R window. Okay, and I'm not able to see a console. So again, participants, it was advised again that you should join this webinar meeting from your laptop or systems. So, it is easy. I know it is a lazy Sunday evening, but even now, if you can switch, then please join this from your laptop. Then you will be able to see the entire screen, because I am using a 15.9-inch laptop and my screen is very wide so as to give you detail and zoom, but you are watching on a 3-inch smartphone. So that is a problem. Please use a full-fledged laptop or a system and you will be able to see most of the things. Otherwise, it will show you the one in which I am working currently. So that will also work for the time being, but I advise you that you switch over to the entire version. Okay, so now let's, I think, get started. Sir, I will be, okay. So text editor would be visible to everyone now. I think this, please can someone confirm that they are able to see all the 4 quadrants? Maybe in the chat, or maybe from someone from organizers also, or in the chat also.
Yeah,
Are
yeah,
you
we can see. We can see.
okay? So 1 or 2 participants, dear participants, I think it is something at your end. And one suggestion is to use laptop, but I think all others are able to see the whole interface. So now, without further ado, let's get started. So now I will, these other 2 features on the right side, we will take it up later, and you will also see it gradually as we go along. Now, what is this text editor and how is it, basic R console is at the bottom and this is text editor. So how the two go along. Now, text editor, you can conceive, so many of you, I think almost all of you are aware with MS Word, and with some of you would also be aware with uh, Notepad. So many of you would be aware with Notepad. So this text editor is an advanced version of Notepad. Now it has very specific use and utility for our context. That is why RStudio provides a text editor inbuilt. It is so because especially when you are still exploring and still deciding what to do, and you are still in the stage when you are looking into things, and or you are as a teachers or researcher, you are just exploring, or you are looking to instruct someone, like you would see that I have to instruct you. So to save time, I have it takes a lot of effort. I have built this entire script for you. Don't worry at all. I will be, before you even ask, I will be sharing this entire script and you will be able to open it in the R. But I have developed this. You can see the entire script. Took a long time, but I have developed it, and I have tried to provide textual explanations also. I will also be explaining, but also, we forget later. So I have provided the detailed explanation. So I will be explaining how all this works. So while instructing, this is like a net. So before actual match, you can practice in the net. So in text editor, you can put everything that you want to do in R except to actually execute it. So before execution, all the commands, all the details you can put in the text editor. And when you want to execute it, you can easily bring it down to the R console. So you can see it is called R console, and this is R text editor. Now let me get with few basics. So the moment you open R, you are seeing this greater than arrow, and this prompt that is asking you to do something. So this is how we type in commands. So just continuing with our simple maths example. So if I type 2 into 3 here, you will get 6. So this is the, and this don't worry about what is this 1. So 1 is the first row. 1 is the first row in which R is giving you output. So sometimes there are tables and there are some complex calculations, or for example, if you were writing something like 26 alphabets of English language, so it will go into multiple rows. So after first row, it will become 2, 3, 4 for subsequent rows. You don't have to worry about it. Your output is after that. Now if I want to write something else, I don't want to write this command. I want to write what is going, I want to write something in text. So for example, I want to write what R does. So I have already, to save time in writing everything here, I have done it in advance so as to save your and my time. So we will start with basic math, that how we can do it in R, because that will be very important. All of these will be foundations for your further ability to do analysis and research, apply research methods in R. So basic math. So basic math follows PEMDAS. So you can see here it follows parenthesis, exponents, parenthesis first, then exponents, then multiplication, then division, then addition, and then subtraction finally. So this is the order in which R will do calculation. So please understand that R has its own rules. Though R is flexible, but R has its own rules. Some of it may be different from what you have read or learned elsewhere, though it is, I think, consistent. But in some places you will find, but we have to play when in Rome, you have to live like Romans. So we have to go when using R, you have to go by rules of R. So you have to understand what those rules are. Otherwise, you will keep running in error and you will get fed up and you will blame R, curse R developers, and you will leave R after a few days. So that is because you have not understood the rules properly. Now in the basic maths, so I will be keeping it there. So now in the basic maths, first of all, if I have to write something, so for example, if I don't want to run a command, but I want to write something, so what do I use? I use this hashtag, where we are very Twitter has made hashtag probably the most popular thing in the world, popular than all leaders. So we use hashtag. Whenever you use hashtag, there is no alternative for it. Then R understands that you are right, you are going to write something which is not a command. So after hashtag you can write anything. So I can again write PEMDAS or anything else. It will not run it. Otherwise, what is the difference? Otherwise, if I write PEMDAS without hashtag, you will immediately get an error. You can see the difference. If I write it without hashtag, you will immediately get an error and you will run away at the first sight that R is horrible. Please understand the rules. It is you have to put a hashtag first if you are writing something which is not a command on which you do not want R to undertake any operation. Then first put a hashtag. And as you can see, friends, teachers, researchers in my this text editor that I have made for you, there are hashtags at several places, and all of it is working fine because I have properly put hashtag before anything which I do not want to run. So this is very important. Secondly, for example, you want to type in something very big and it goes beyond one line. So like you can see, parentheses, exponents, multiplication, then it has a limited window which for readability also. So now I want to put something in the next line. So it is no problem. So if I illustrate to you here, I have again put PEMDAS, and then in the I just press enter, and for the next line again I put hashtag and I say write anything else like parts or something, whatever I want to write. But I would strongly advise and recommend that you do not write these hashtags in the R console, because we have a proper text editor for the same purpose. So whatever you want to write as a description or something, write it in the text editor. Don't write it in the R interface. In fact, as a best practice, because you are beginning with R, so I will keep on telling you the best practice. So the best practice in R is that you do not directly work in R console. You work only in the text editor. And wherever there is a text, it is fine. Otherwise, if there is a command that you need to get over to R console, there is a very simple option. So for example, for here, we have this 3 into 7 into 2. I have written 3 into 7 into 2. Now this is in text editor, so it is obviously not there in below in R console. Now I want to take it to R console, so all I need to do is press Control plus enter. You can see, okay, I think more parts went there because it was selected, but you can see 3 into 7 into 2, you can see here 42 is there in the R console. All I need to do is to press, I have again put the command in the PPT also. Let me write here also probably. The command for taking things from our console to our editor, text editor to our console is, again I will have to put hashtag, is control plus enter. If you are using Windows, please remember, if you are using Windows. If you are using Apple Mac operating systems, it is command plus enter for Mac. And you don't need to worry, you can put one line there, or you can select a line. So I have selected these 4 lines, and now I press Control plus enter. So you can see exactly these 4 lines only go down. So earlier previous things also got down, but now you can see that only these 4 lines of command have got down to the console. Now, what I was trying to illustrate here is that if you see now from bottom, so 3 into 7 into 2 is 42. Now, one thing that you need to keep in mind is that for multiplication, you have to use asterisk. You have to use this asterisk symbol in R instead of cross or X that is used at some other places. You have to use this asterisk symbol. Secondly, for division, I think it is fairly clear. You have to use the divider sign. So you can see 4 upon 3. Also, I was, illustrating quickly the operation, that how R is intelligent to, follow the PEMDAS rule. So you can see 4 into 6 plus 5. So first, the bracket has been operated upon. So 4 into 6, 24, and then 5, 29. And if we change it, we make it 4 into 6 plus 5, then we will get a different answer. So R is aware and R is following this PEMDAS. Now, another thing before we move ahead is that it is a very good practice. Now you would see 2 different things here. So you would see that 3, after 3 I have put 1 space, then asterisk, then 1 space, then 7, then space, then asterisk, then space, and then 2. While in the next thing I have put no space. So immediately 4 divided by 3. So is there a problem, or does this matter, or does this make a difference? It does not make a difference. Whether you put a space between these things or you do not put a space, it does not matter. But as a best practice, it is recommended, and for clarity and to avoid confusion to you and to R, it is recommended that after everything that you type, whether it is a number or is an operator like asterisk or divider or plus sign, please put 1 space. So things are clear for you, others, and R. Because dear teachers and especially researchers, many journals, there in research ethics, there is one issue that people are copy pasting the output from software, and some malified researchers unfortunately have indulged in practices like they have changed the for example, their probability for a test was 99%, but they have made it 0.000, and accordingly they have also put some other values for other statistics. So some people do mistake in that, but some people are smart enough to change the result. So now many top journals are asking that you provide us the underlying data set and you provide us the R code. So whenever they are in doubt, and because this cannot be done for any other software, this can only be done in R. So they ask for the underlying data set which you have used, whether primary or secondary, and the R code which you have applied on that data set to get your results so that they can verify it. So that is also one very important use of R, which I wanted to see, which one wanted to tell you. Now, before we move ahead, there are some reserved words in R, because we are now, going basic math. You can work on it more, you can try it more. Now, there are reserved words in R. So those words you cannot use anytime, anywhere. And unless you know those words, you will, again get disappointed that why R is not even letting me type simple things like true or false or null. Why R is creating problem. So what are those reserved words? How do we access that? So to access those reserved words, all you need to do is type this. So you can type question mark and type reserved. You can see you will get a downward prompt also. So when any time, because we are working in RStudio, so anything which is there already there in our memory, it does. So what I have done, I have put a question mark and I have typed reserved. Remember, R is case sensitive. So cap R here in reserved has to be capital. And if I press enter, then in this view, now, that is why I didn't explain the other windows so much now, because as we use, you will find their utility automatically. You will see their utility. So these are the reserved words in R. So let me quickly take you why these words are reserved in R. Why they cannot be used by any programmer, any analyzer, any researcher, why they cannot be used. So these words from if to break, these words are used in R's underlying code for, there is a technical thing. It is for conditions or creating loops and some other functions which are part of the core R programming. So you cannot use any of these words anywhere. Next, why true and false? So true and false we will do today also, otherwise early tomorrow. These are logical constants. So you cannot use true and false. Now please understand, you can see this is all caps lock, all capital. So you can use, so for example, you can use true. You can use TRUE, small, but you cannot use this in capital. But you can use T capital, RUE small, or all the four small you can use. Null is for absence of a value. We will come to missing data, how to deal with missing data in R, because missing data is a big issue for all researchers. So we will tell you. So missing data, null is for that. INF is for infinity. So these are the reserved things that R has. So for example, if I here, type 1 upon 0, you see here I have written 1 upon 0 in the command prompt. So let me also bring the screen upwards. So 1 upon 0 in the command prompt. So what do you expect to get? Infinity. So R will give you INF. 1 upon 0, R gives you INF. Now, another complement to this, 0 upon 0. So if we do 0 upon 0, so 0 upon 0 is undefined. So you will get what is called nan, capital N, small a, and again capital N. So nan is not a number. So you will get nan. It is not a number. It is, R does not like to say undefined, but it is nan. So I'm getting a request to increase the font size. So let me try. Yes, so I think I can increase the zoom. So I will take you through these options tomorrow also. So anybody can confirm is this better in terms of viewing the output? Okay. So I'm glad Vibhas sir from organizers told me this. Thank you, sir. Okay, now we have the next word. Next word is NA. So NA is for not available. not available. So just like if we go ahead, and if backwards, or okay, I've not we have not come across NA till now. We will come across NA also. We will talk about NA and null later also in missing values. So NA is something which is not available. So it can be an integer, it can be a real number, it can be a complex number, it can be a character. So NA stands for not available. So these are reserved words that are ours, sole or custodian of it is R. You cannot use it. Now, let me come to a very important thing quickly, which are variable. Variables, how to create them, how to, because we all understand that whatever research, whatever analysis we are doing in all disciplines is about variables, some variable or the other. And we all understand that we have the scales and instruments to even quantify the subjective and qualitative variables like opinions and other things. So we are almost always working on variables. So let me tell you that variables are integral part, and variables are offers great flexibility in developing and using variables. And variables can be used to store numbers, characters, date, output from your plot, I mean, that is graphical output, also statistical tables and results. All of that can be used, but variables can also be used for changing variables, but variables are not fixed, because I told you just now that R provides great flexibility. So a variable which is storing for initially a number can be changed to store something else. So variables are essentially something which contains, so it can contain character, number, date, a graphical plot, a statistical table. Now, how do we create variables in R? So the mode of creation, the authorized ways of creation of variable in R is these three. So one, you can use this. The other is to use this. Okay, sorry. And the third way is to use this. Though equal to is not preferred. Okay, there is a problem in my shift key. Equal to is not preferred. Equal to is not preferred because equal to is also used for some equality tests in R. And the most common way of creating variables is using this. So a less than arrow followed by a simple dash or minus, whatever you, in whichever way you see it. So let's create some variables. So let me create a variable x which contains a number 2. So I just put, you can see this is the variable that I want to create. It is x, and I want it to store something like 2. So this is how, now how do we check whether R has, I told you it is very interactive. So actually it is a fun and, a very enriching experience to work on R. You will enjoy it soon. So I just, moment I press X, you will get 2. Why I'm getting X in return for X? Why I'm getting 2? Because I have in the previous command specified that X is a variable which contains 2. This is what R understands from this. So when you write X, R gives you 2. Similarly, if I write Y and I write, management, but I will have to put it in the quotations here. Please understand, dear participants, that whenever you write a character, please note, this is very important. Whenever and wherever you write a character, a text, you have to put it under double quotation. So I write it like this, and it becomes blue. What I am doing after writing management and putting quotation, I am pressing enter. I am pressing enter. You can also press tab in your systems. Now, if I recall what is y, I ask y r what is y, and you will see that r tells us that it is management. Y means management because that's what we have told r. So just let me quickly take you. If I write z is equal to 5 and I write z, then it also works. And let me also show you the other way. Now, dear participants, please remember that for using this, this is you can easily see that this is the reverse of this. This is the reverse of these two are opposite. So when you are using this one, you have to first put the value that you are storing, and then you have to put the variable. What we have been doing now, we have been placing the variable first, like x and y, and then the operator, and then we are placing the content. But when you use the other one, you have to first place the content, and then you have to put the variable. So for example, I will have to first write FDP, and then I will have to write, then I can write like this, and then I can write that it is there in a variable called A. So when I recall A, then it gives us FTP. So this is how we go. Now, one more very good utility. Sometimes many, so for example, there is, a common thing which you wants to be stored in many things, many variables. So for example, there is a value 3 which you want to be stored in both x and y, or x and a. So you can directly write like this. B also you can now write, and you can write like this. So simultaneously, instead of many steps and writing multiple times, you can directly write like this, and now 3 will be assigned to both A and B, and you can quickly confirm A is 3 and B is 3. And now students, participants, teachers, you can also see that how R makes variables flexible. So you saw that earlier we assigned FTP to our A, but now the moment we changed it and assigned 3 to A, so R has also updated it itself. And now R understands that A means 3. So this is how we go. Just a more complex way. Finally, a more complex way. I will not be covering everything. We cannot cover everything, but some important things. More complex way to assign is to do like this. It will have very limited utility. So again, this means that variable is x and you have assigned 5. And these formats, please note, I am telling you because these formats are fixed. So even if you do thousands of variables, you have to create in one of these ways. And whether the new versions come, it will remain consistent. So it is a lifelong investment. And you can see that X has now been assigned. Earlier it was assigned to, and this is also a way of assigning, though it is very less used, because you can see that it is, very slightly cumbersome. Now, what are the restrictions on variable names? So one restriction is that you cannot use the reserved words. So, you cannot use any reserved words that we saw. The other restriction is that variables can normally have any combination of alphabets and numbers, but it cannot start with a number. So you can have C5 as a variable, but you cannot have 5C as a variable. It is invalid. Secondly, you can also have C5.2 as a variable, or you can also have C5_2 as a variable. But again, like for numbers, you cannot start a variable name with a underscore. So these are the restrictions. Otherwise, you can use any combination of alphabets and numbers, but do or dot, which is formally known as period. This is formally known as period or underscore. You can use it, but you cannot start with an underscore or a number while creating a variable. So I know it is a lot of time. We will also be winding up soon, but today is Sunday and many people are free. And so today's session is slightly longer. Tomorrow's session may be more compact, but we have to cover a few foundational things. And I hope you are all, enjoying this. It is not so heavy. Now, if we have, another best practice is that instead of, using these kind of single letters, A, B, Z, X, instead of using this, you should use proper names. So, you should write that it is, customer underscore satisfaction. You should create variables like this instead of writing CS or only C. So it will help you because when later on you come to this, it will help you, uh, both you yourself and again whenever you share this code. So for example, you may have to share the code with someone else who is an expert for help in data analysis, or you may have to share the code as I said with the journal. So you should use proper full names instead of shortcuts and single digits. It is a better practice. Now we have created the variables, but what if I want to remove them? What do we do? So for removing, we have a very simple code, which is RM shortcut. So RM stands for removing. So RM and bracket, you should type the variable name. So RM bracket A, for example. So this will remove the variable A. You remember we assigned 3 to A. Now this will remove this. So RMA, now if you look for A, you can see that object A not found because you have removed A. Earlier when we said A, it gave us 3, but now you remove it. So now it is not found. So you can easily remove this variable, and don't worry, all what I'm explaining would be available to you in written. So don't bother about writing, just understand, and better if you can do it live. Now, all of you remember there are two types of deletions or removal. One is when you simply press a delete button and something goes to the recycle bin. And another is something like, permanent delete. So, uh, it is shift plus delete in computers. So what if, this RM has been RM, when you use RM, then it still is in, not exactly, but sort of recycle bin of R. What if you want to permanently remove it so that you can free up the R memory? So instead of RM, you should use GC. So GC for another variable, let's say B. What is GC? GC is garbage cleaning. So if I do it, and if I look for B, okay, I think okay, I think we have to first place R. Yes. Okay, so you don't directly run GC. First, do RM and then use GC. And what what extensive things have come up. It don't worry about this. This is just explaining to you that how many cells and vectors in terms of percentages and megabytes, microbytes, sorry, microbytes have been used till now. So it is telling you that there is still some free space. Now, let me take up one or two more important aspects of variables. So I told you that R, is case sensitive. So if I create a variable xc and assign 17 to it, and if I look up like this, x and small c, then there will be object not found And if I click XC, then I will get 17. So please remember 19% of the errors, 19% of the errors and panic that people get into is because of these mistakes. Not using the correct operator, missing the cases, and removing a variable and then worrying where it is gone, and changing the values of the variable. So we change the value of a, uh, and then we are looking that why we are not able to run a, or why we are not getting expected results. So if you thoroughly practice and revise these basics, it will not be a problem. Now we will just one or two things, and then we will wind up today. So I want to discuss just a couple of data types. So what are the types of data that are there in R? So in R we have four major types of data. So one is numeric, one is character, or in some other softwares it is called string. Then other is date, and the final one is logical. So these are the four major types of data that are there in R. So let me quickly take you through numeric. So numeric basically handles both integers, decimals, zero, positive, negative numbers. And variables which have only numbers are automatically labeled as numeric. So how do we test if there is any variable? So we have created a variable xc we have created, and it has only numbers, so 1 and 7. So how do we check that whether it is numeric or not? So there is a command for it. It is very simple. The command is to check whether a variable is numeric or not, because this is very important. Everything that we are doing is of immense importance, because later on you will do analysis and you will find that the variable is not run because it is not numeric. So how to check if any other variable? Now we are talking about creating a variable. Tomorrow we will be importing the variables like real life data and survey things. So whenever there is a variable which you want to check, you can use this is dot numeric, and then in the bracket type the variable name. So xc. So R gives answers in true and false. So you will get answer true. Why it is true? Because xc contains a number 17, so it is indeed numeric. Now if I have a variable xa which contains arts as the word, again I have to put it in double quotation whenever you use text, and if you run is numeric xa, then you will get false, because xa stores a character, so it does not store a number, so it is not numeric. So this is how we test whether something is numeric or not. And if we have to uh, strictly classify something as integer, so you all understand, I think, the difference between integers are whole numbers without decimals. So 17 here is a whole number, but 9.3 is a decimal. It also is not a whole number. So if we want that variables include only integer, then we have to use an additional term which is capital L. So I, and if we assign 5L, and if we look and to what is the class of, sorry, what is the class of I? So if we look at this, then it comes out to be integer. Now I also introduce you to another very important function, which is class. So I remember I told you that there are four data types. So one way is that you check like this is numeric, and you run everything, you try everything, or you can try to find out directly what is the class of a variable by putting it like this. So class bracket variable, and it will give you a result. Now if I put Now if I quickly create x as a variable, which is 5.7, and if I ask R what is the class of this x, then it will give me numeric. So you can see the difference here. By using this L, I have made it a integer, but this, it is definitely not an integer, so it comes in numeric. But integer is a subset of numbers. As you understand that numbers include everything in decimals and whole numbers, integers are subset of it. And the final thing that I would like to discuss for today is characters. So I think not much needs to be told about characters. So I think, for example, we have already created a character, a variable with character like XA, and you have to put it in double quotations. So if I ask R what is the class of XA, then you will get the answer. It is character, because we have specified XA. XA is arts, which is alphabet. So, you will get a character. Now, I also introduce you to the final thing for today, which is n character. So n character is, for counting the number of, number of digits or number of letters that are there in any variable. N character is for counting the number of letters or digits that are there in any variable. So if I place n character, and if I write, let's say XA only, then you will get answer 4. Why you are getting answer 4? Because XA is a variable which is belonging to a class of character. We understand that now. And if we count it, then it has 1, 2, 3, and 4 letters or 4 digits. So you will get n character XA4. So that's it, friends, for today. And for the next 5 to 10 minutes, I will take up questions now, because we have covered a lot of things. So I will quickly take up questions, and then we will again resume from tomorrow. And I'm glad that on a large number of participants, about 159, 157, have stayed throughout this 2 hour. This validates your desire to learn and practice. And don't worry, I will be sharing the PPT. I will be sharing the R script, so you can practice and you can see from it yourself also. Okay, so for some people, some people is, having a problem, like RStudio is not getting opened, or laptop is hanging. Sir, ma'am, I can really not help much in that, because it has to be, your individual laptops. I cannot help much into that. Please, you have to look into those problems at your end. I have suggested the possible solutions. And RStudio honestly is not so heavy that it requires so much volume. You can get along with it if and font size was already communicated. R packages, I will tell tomorrow. Again, you can type the variables also in text editor, no problem. So I have explained the variant command, the operator. Actually, it is not a command for creating variable again and again. So I think, hope it is fine now. Also with the zoomed screen, it would be visible now. And don't worry, if you're running into any coding problems, don't worry, because I will be sharing my exact script file. So you will be able to exactly replicate it. That is the power of R. Okay, so recording will be uploaded. Sure, I think we will get on to it immediately after the session. All commands, there is again, I think, a confusion that whether we have to write it in the text editor or write it in the console. See, participants, don't worry about it. You can directly write in the console also, but it is a better practice to first write it in text editor, and then when you are sure about executing it, then write it in the console. Because I will tell you why. Because in the text editor, so let me show this to you. In the text editor, if I get it here, so in the text editor, whatever is written, you can edit it. You can edit it. That is why it is called text editor. So once, but if you are sure about running anything, then you can directly write it in console. But if you are in doubt, then you can first write it in text editor, and then it, as I showed you earlier with control and enter, it can easily get transferred to the console, no problem. So don't worry about it. 5L is an integer, sir, ma'am, because whenever it is L is an operator for R, which makes it, which tells R that whatever number you are assigning before it, before L. So if you are saying 5L, then 5 must be an integer. That's what we did. We are not going to cover the concept of word cloud, but again, you can look up into R, and I think you can get it. Okay, again, there are some downloading problems. I'm sorry, it is specific to a system. Most cases, uninstall it. I think you are aware, going to program files and removing a program, basic computer things, I think you are aware. So go to a program files, remove whatever you have downloaded in form of R or RStudio, go fresh to the link provided, download it, and I think you will, get going. And I'm surprised because, RStudio, if some of you are not able to find it, there is a search icon at the bottom of your screen. Isn't there a search icon at the bottom? It is there. I think there was only one version of Windows in which it was not there. After it, every other version, there is a search icon at the bottom near the start menu. Just type RStudio there. Just type RStudio there if you're not able to find it where it is. Though during the installation, you must have been prompted as to the destination, but if you're not able to find it, just search it and you will find the RStudio icon. I will tell you how we will work on assignments, application of R in social science subjects like archaeology and conservation. Sir, ma'am, whoever is asking, I cannot see the name. Wherever there is some data, even if it is text, I told you, you can analyze. But R is essentially a statistical or analysis software. So if you're not into analysis, then probably otherwise, whatever whatever be the form of your data, you can analyze it in R. Yes, and character is also there in not in tabular form, but and car or number of characters will be there for variables. Uh, Again, I'm covering most of the questions, non-repetitive ones. No, if you have assigned something to X and then you want to change it, no problem at all. As I told you, as I showed you, A was something else in the beginning, then we changed it. So whatever is your latest input, but this flexibility is also a problem with R because anybody can later on change it or you can change it. So you have to be very clear. That is why we suggest that instead of single letters, use the full words. But you can keep on changing and R will take whatever you have assigned to it in the latest. Whatever you have assigned latest, that is what R will read. Where we can see what we have assigned. So ma'am, I showed you, if you have assigned, I showed several times here, if you see again, that for example, I assigned, I assigned, let us see, XC was a variable and as I assigned 17. So you type in XC and press enter or tab, you will get 17. You will be able to see what is contained in XC. You will be able to easily see it. And I think the final few questions, because it is almost 6 now. No, ma'am, we are looking at a, comprehensive assignment. So there is one request on complex value in R. There is not much difference, but complex value, I am also not much aware because we do not use it normally in in management or commerce or social sciences. But sir, you can easily look it up in the R community, but I will advise that you look it up after tomorrow's session. After that, whatever is there in our community help, you will easily get it regarding complex value, if it is at all is different. But I will tell you that we use I, just like we used L for integer. I think, I'm not sure, we use small I for complex numbers. But you can, check the exact thing in in that. How do you get text editor? Okay, it is there. It is there. Date and logical, I will tell tomorrow. Save document. Okay, last thing I will take up, save document and how to get the text editor. How can we use RStudio in statistical analysis? Obviously, we are going to use R in statistical analysis entire tomorrow and day after. So our software and RStudio are different, as I explained earlier. Uh, RStudio is a development environment of R. So final two things I think for today. How do we save and how do we get the text editor? So if some of you are not able to get the text editor, maybe depending upon what you have got, it may be minimized. So you would be seeing this option. I think this screen share is there. So let me just confirm. Yes, this screen share is there. So you will get this option, this source icon, and these two buttons. So if you click on either of this, you will get this text editor. And finally, how do we save it? So there is a save button here, save current, save document. So you can save it. And since I have already placed a folder, so it is going there. Otherwise, you can choose a folder for saving if you're doing it for the first time. And the final query for today, that how do we clear the console? Okay, so clearing the console, I will have to check if there is again a program for it or not. I don't think there is a direct program or command for clearing a console, because you can keep going down and down and down, and that is why it is advisable that you put all your draft things in the text editor and put the final version in console. But if you, a very simple way is to close it and open it again, and you will get a fresh blank console with you. Okay, so I think we are done for the day. Thank you, Vibhas sir, for staying throughout.
Thank you, Arnav. It was a wonderful session, I think, and I hope all the participants have been informed on using R. And this is the introductory R session taken by Dr. Arnav Kumar. I hope you can please keep your doubts coming in. We can take it in the next sessions, definitely. So thank you, Dr. Arnav. It was a pleasure listening to you. And thank you, participants, for joining us. We'll be going live tomorrow again at 5, right?
Yes,
Arnav?
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Thank you, all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Arnav.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, participants. So, sir, we can maybe end the meeting also.
Yeah, we are going to do it right now. Thank you. You can stop the recording.